This podcast is brought to you by Infinite Resources, a local staffing agency connecting diverse job candidates in central Iowa companies.
Amplified.
Hello, everyone. This is Kenny Lilly from Do the Math 24/7. Thank you for tuning in for another episode of Math Talk. Before I go into my next guest, interviewing him, I want to first break down my company, Do the Math 24/7. Do the Math 24/7 is a positive message on kindness, unity, and equality. Do the Math 24/7's positive message is spread out into 5 basic math symbols: add, subtract, multiply, divide, and equal. So add kindness, add self-respect. For subtract bullying, subtract injustice. For multiply peace, multiply understanding. For divide, indivisible. Even though there's division sometimes in society, we're stronger unified as a people. And equal stands for equality, equal rights, equal opportunity. And 24/7 stands for all the time. Do the math 24/7. We have several different ways in which we spread our positive message. We have a school fundraising program. We have a character building program. We have a after-school program. We have a school fundraising program. We have an apparel line, and we also have this podcast. So again, thank you for tuning in for Do the Math 24/7. And let me introduce my guest, Mr. Will Keeps. How you doing, brother?
What's up, man? How are you?
Good.
Hey, that was a nice little intro, man.
You like that?
You memorized all that?
Yeah. Actually on the way driving here, but
that's what's up.
Yeah, I just want to make sure I get that in before I forget, because there's just a lot of information I want to go over. And man, you're just so inspiring, man. It's been a while since I wanted to interview you, but I'm glad you're here today. So thank you for joining us today for Math Talk.
It's a pleasure, man. You inspire me.
Yeah.
You know, just by just, you know, showing love to me, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When certain people didn't, you know, and
Right.
you did.
Yeah.
And you found out, you went to find out who I am instead of what other people were saying. Bro.
Right.
And I appreciate that big time, man.
Yeah. Thank you.
You got my heart, bro.
Okay.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. Yeah. Yeah. So when I was talking, well, you know, researching as far as going through this whole podcast and coming up with the questions, you know, normally I send out the questions about a week in advance. But for you, I decided, you know, I'm not going to do that, because we talk all the time, at least once every 6 weeks. You know, we may not talk, you know, quite often, like once a week. But when we talk, it's a solid 30 to 45-minute conversation.
Yes.
So I just want to keep it that way. So, yeah, we're going to just talk and just kind of do what we do and laugh and just kind of have a good time, you know.
Let's do it.
Okay. So, you know, first I want to just kind of share with people how I got to know Will and also how I first heard about Will. So just starting to do different things in the community about 3 years ago, I was hearing, you know, different things about Starts Right Here and Will Keeps. And I know that you was rapping at the time. I actually heard about your Iowa State song, football song.
Yeah, Sea of Red.
Yep. Somebody was telling me about that. So I kind of knew a little bit about you. But at one particular time, I was at one of Creative Vision's summer events. It was the Peace in the Streets.
Yes.
It was about 3 years ago. And, you know, I didn't meet you at the time, but you were one of the speakers. So, you know, KO kind of introduced you and you came up. You know, your wife was there as well, so you came up to the stage. And one thing, you know, I noticed right when you came up, before you started speaking, you started to sing. You know, and I'm just like, wow, you know, who's this guy? Just, you know, normally
Right.
just, you know, sometimes because of perception that we may have, you know, of people and whatnot, and just, you know, but the way you sung your song, you know, and that just really stuck to me. I said, you know what? I'm going to get to know that guy some kind of way. I didn't introduce myself to you that day, but I knew eventually I was going to introduce myself to you and just kind of let you know what I'm doing. And I wanted to take the time to get to know you. So I did ask you this before, but do you mind sharing a little bit as far as a little bit of a song, just kind of what speaks to your heart when you're getting ready to do a great presentation or talk?
I mean, sure, I don't know if I got a good voice today, but that day when that you saw me sing, you know, I always try to sing something at first because people do look at me as a black dude with a do-rag in his head. What is he going to talk about? Who is he? But when they hear my voice, they hear me start singing, they say, whoa, wait a minute. Who is this guy?
Yes.
So it was like, Lord, if I find favor in your sight. Lord, please hear my heart cry. You know what I'm saying? So it was like, I'm desperately waiting to be where you are. I cross the hottest desert. I travel near or far for your glory. You know, and I just want people to know that God is in my life, that God has protected me, even though sometimes I was mad at him for me going through the things I went through. I always tell people that every time something happened to me, like being molested at 7 years old, that was the worst thing ever happened to me. Then all of a sudden I seen my friend get killed and I was left for dead at 15 years old. That was the worst thing that happened to me. Me getting abandoned, you know what I'm saying, by my mom, that was the worst thing that ever happened to me. I'm just gonna say not abandoned, but dropped me off to my father's house like she didn't want me anymore, or my brother or my sister. That was the worst thing that happened to me. And certain things now in my life, like me, you know what I'm saying, getting shot in my own school, seeing 2 kids die, that was the worst thing that ever happened to me. So things keep happening over and over and over and over again, and it's, I believe in God so much that I know that He loves me and He got me, you know, and He left me here for a reason to do things, you know what I'm saying, to help people. Even though I was going through so much pain, I still have a mission, you know what I'm saying, to help people. And help people that's going through the same pain or even more. So it's like, I just want to be here. I want to be that Luke Skywalker, one of the ones who helped save our community, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah, man.
No, I appreciate that. And, you know, and speaking of just, you know, being that Luke Skywalker, you know, when I first toured the school, Starts Right Here, we finally linked up and then went to Starts Right Here. And that's when I took the tour, but then we really sat down and talked in the studio. Mm-hmm. You and I, we were listening to some gospel music. He was actually getting ready to lay a track. I think it was some kind of event going on at the Hoyt Sherman. You was working on the Masked Singer or something like that. Yeah. So you was working on that. So we were just kind of talking about that, you know, and then we took a little bit more of the tour, you know, the facility. And then one thing that stood out, a lot of things that stood out actually, but one thing that stood out the first and the second time I was at Starts Right Here, because when we were walking around, you know, a student tapped you on your shoulder and said, Mr. Will, I passed my class.
Yeah.
I passed my class.
Yeah.
You know, and even though we were talking, it wasn't deep, heavy conversation, but we were walking and talking, you stopped. And you said, hey, everyone. Got everyone's attention. Hey, everyone, guess what? She just passed her class. Let's give it up for her. And you clapped it up.
Yeah.
Man, I had chills down my back. Like, man, I can't believe this dude, man. You about to have me crying up in here.
Man,
but just the fact that you took the time to stop everything. You stopped, almost like stopping time, but you wanted to make sure you focus on that student to validate her, and not just to validate her in front of me, but in front of everyone, to let everyone know, look what she did. She did her thing. She did the thing, you know.
See those pictures on Facebook and LinkedIn? Those are just pictures, but they don't see the celebration.
The celebration.
Before the pictures.
Before the pictures.
And how these kids are excited to pass a class.
A class, yeah.
Come on, man.
Yeah.
So you got to celebrate that.
You got to celebrate.
You got to scream for that.
Yeah.
You got to let everybody know, you know what I'm saying? Like, if she can do it, you can do it.
Right. Right. Who's up next?
Who's up next?
Yeah.
And they get excited to be up next. That's the crazy thing. They're excited to be up next. You know what I mean? They love those pictures. They love when people like congratulate them, because a lot of those kids don't get a lot of congratulations. They get a lot of you're not going to be nothing.
Yeah.
You know, and so when they see other people, like this one girl graduated and she saw like she got like almost 500 likes and 230 comments. She said she started crying, bawling, crying. All these people I don't even know them, and all these people are congratulating me, like bawl crying. Like she felt that. So when people like respond to that, I don't even think they realize the impact they putting on these kids in a positive way.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And that's good that you do post that. And you know what? We talked about this before. That's testimonial. And not just that, that's data.
Yes.
That's data right there, right? Showing that this is what we're doing at Start Right Here. This is how we're making a difference, you know, and not just that, but you want the community to help encourage them, right? To applaud them, what they've done. So it's not just me or it's the city, right? I want whoever follows me, I want you to come congratulate them. You know?
I don't like to use the word data, you know what I'm saying? But it's because that's what everybody wants to see.
Right. And that's why I mentioned that. But.
Yeah, I know that. That's what everybody wants to see. But it's like people, I want people to see the smiles. I want people to see the excitement, the different poses, you know what I'm saying? Like these kids be so happy, man. Like we even do birthdays. You should see us on their birthday. We have everybody come in the kitchen. And we'll do happy birthday to you. But then at the end, we'll happy birthday to you. You know what I'm saying? Everybody be clapping and we be jamming, man. But they get so embarrassed, but they love it.
They love it.
They love it.
Yeah.
That's all, man. Sometimes, you know, just like with my wife, sometimes she's mad at me. All I gotta do is kiss on the cheek.
Yeah.
And she be like, that's all I needed from you, babe.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And one of these kids, sometimes they just need you to look at them and say, hey, man, I love you.
Yeah.
And it makes it changed their whole day.
Yeah.
Or just show them attention. Let them know. I remember this one girl, she was about to leave the program because she was just, you know, didn't want to put up her phone, you know what I'm saying? And because what we do is we make them put their phones up before they go to class. She didn't want to do that. And she just felt like, man, this is too many rules here. And I told her, I said, you know what? But I really want you here. Since you've been here, you've been doing great. Don't let those rules, you know what I'm saying, take away your future and take away your success.
Right.
I said, I want you here with me. She never had nobody come at her like that. You know, that girl stayed and graduated.
Yeah.
And I asked her, why did you do that? She said, because the way you came at me, you let me know, you made me feel that you wanted me here.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, it's like a family, like a home, man. It's a different ball game, man.
Just a bit different ball game. Yeah. You know, and I'm glad you mentioned as far as just the validation and, you know, just kind of going into the book right here, Willpower. Before we go into that, congratulations on your award.
Oh, thanks, man.
Congratulations, brother. Yeah. That's good. That's good.
Yeah, man.
You know, and so how do you feel about that as far as that accomplishment?
I feel good because, you know, I was scared putting out my story.
Yeah.
It's a lot. Even though my book is even watered down. Everything ain't in there.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so to get an award, knowing that there's a lot of people that put in for that award and they like mine's the best, come on, man. I got to get love to Danny Byer, man. He wrote, you know, he helped co-wrote the book, you know what I'm saying? And so get love to him at Book Press, you know what I'm saying?
Come on, shout out.
You know, get love to them. But it was exciting, man. And when I found out, I was like, huh?
Yeah.
I was like, what do you mean? I ain't never heard of the award before. Because I never wrote a book before, so I don't know the book awards. You know what I mean? Right. So it was a blessing, bro.
Yeah. Yeah. And you didn't do it for the award. You just did it.
I just did it.
For what? Because that's your passion.
Yeah.
You know? So as far as in the book, I mean, there's a lot, man. There's a lot in the book. I love the book. You know, great book. But a few things that stood out is the lack of love that you felt growing up, that you mentioned the lack of love and how you was yearning for that, you know. So how does that correlate to an average student, at-risk youth, or a student that starts right here?
Like I said in the beginning, man, sometimes you just gotta say I love you.
Yeah.
And they hear it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so when I was growing up, you know, my mom was in the house. My father, you know what I'm saying, they separated. My mom brought in my stepdad, and he violated my whole family.
Yeah.
And so my mom was always at work, but she was working to fulfill her needs and going on trips and doing the things that she wanted. And so I just felt like there was no teaching. There was no mental development. You know what I'm saying? And I just wanted my mom to just say she loved me and give me a hug. And it's so crazy, bro. Like I'm in my 50s, and I'm just now saying to myself, she's never gonna give me that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm just now. It's not like she never said she didn't love me before, but it's like when you say it, please show it.
Yeah.
I'm begging you to show it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm begging you. Don't say you love me because I said, I love you, Mom. Love you too. Now show me.
Show me.
Show me that you're proud of me, that you're not holding me hostage to my past. That you see what I'm doing and you're not saying that he's only doing it for himself. That you're seeing it and you're saying, you know what? I'm proud of you. And that's what these kids, they look for.
Yeah.
You can give it to some, let's be real with this though. You can give that to some kids and they still don't care.
Yeah. You mentioned that in the book.
Yeah, they still don't care. But you have to take that leap and say, I love you, not what you're gonna do. You're gonna accept it or you're gonna run from it. Mm-hmm. I'll chase you for a minute, but I can't keep chasing you.
Yeah. That's deep, man. But like you said, it's they want that.
They want it, man.
They want it.
So they getting it. You know what I'm saying? They getting not just from me, from my staff too, Yvonne and Mia, Nate, you know, Tori, even other staff that was there before.
Yeah.
You know, they're getting it.
Yeah.
You know, they just have to accept it. And you have that one or two that just they don't get it.
Yeah.
They think everybody's lying, or they just don't want it. They're that damaged.
You know, also in the book you mentioned as far as wanting to feel accepted, wanting to be accepted, you know, and how something or attention, you know, how, you know, you did certain things because you thrived off the attention, and how you were, you know, killing it singing, you know, killing on those stages, doing what you do as far as singing and whatnot, but you wanted that attention. And that's kind of, you know, tie that into, starts right here as far as, you know, kids just sometimes they just need that attention.
Yeah. That's why, see, we've been talking about that the whole time.
Yeah.
Because telling them you love them, they got that attention. You know what I'm saying? They're like, what do you mean? You don't even know me. You talking about you love me. Man, I love you. You know, this one kid was getting so angry. He got anger issues like crazy. And he got mad at me over, I wouldn't let him leave, but I let somebody else leave because they had an appointment to go to. He wanted to leave, and I said, no, bro, that was a whole different, you know, thing that was going on with me and that young lady. And he got upset, and he started kind of getting loud in front of everybody. So I popped him on his chest with my backhand, and I said, hey, man, I love you, bro. I said, what are you doing? He said, man, I just want to, I said, no, man, I love you, bro. I said, we got a good relationship. Don't talk to me that way. I would never talk to you that way. I love you, bro.
Right.
What are we doing?
Yeah.
He's like, man, I understand, man, but no, ain't no buts, bro. I show you love every day. And because I said no, now you want to be mad? Like I ain't nothing? Like we ain't had conversations? Like we ain't like literally talked about what's going on in your life and in my life? I said no, and now you forgot everything? You know what he did? He said, you know what, you're right, man, my bad.
Yeah.
But it took that. His anger, his emotion switched so quick when it came down to our relationship because of the word no.
Yeah.
So there was something deeper.
Yeah. Yeah, one of the examples that you used in the book was, I was laughing when I was reading this, but when you were getting ready to perform, Freak Me.
Why would you mention that story?
No,
I try to forget that story.
But there's trust me, there's a point to it. So, but not necessarily the song, but just the fact that you were preparing for this, right? Crew was getting ready, your group, everybody's getting ready, everybody knew what they had to do. You know, the stage was set, everything was ready to go. This is you were doing
Voice was right.
Voice was right. You knew everything. You knew exactly what you needed to do. Hit that high note and everything.
That's all I needed to do.
Once it was time for you to perform at that point. What Will Keeps do back then, your throat choked up.
Choked. Couldn't hit the note.
Couldn't hit the note.
I even put the mic down and tried to just do it without the mic, and it sounded worse.
Yeah.
And then I just walked off the stage.
You walked off the stage. But one thing that caught my attention was you mentioned how you were taking music classes.
Oh, yeah.
You were taking music classes.
Oh,
and
yeah, that was, dang.
And your music teacher kept telling you, you knew what you had to do, but, you know, as far as textbook, the diaphragm and the textbook. But no, they couldn't tell Will. Couldn't tell you at that time.
I can sing, you know what I'm saying? I don't need all this.
You don't need all that.
Yeah.
So you mentioned, you brought it back to that. At that point, if you would have listened to your teacher, then you would have fulfilled that point. You know, that
I would have
singing
knew
that
how to use my diaphragm to hit those notes. Because that afternoon we was practicing, I was hitting all the notes through my throat.
Right.
But it made my throat tired. So my throat said, I'm not going to hit these notes no more for you. You're going to have to hit it from somewhere else. But I didn't know how.
You didn't know how. Right.
So my teacher was trying to teach me, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, man, I don't need you.
Right.
I stopped even going.
Right. Yeah. So how does that tie into something that may transpire even at your school? So when any teenager, they thinking they know everything.
Because
right?
teenagers always think they know everything, you know what I'm saying? And it ties in so much. And I'm so glad you said that, bro, because it ties in like it's no tomorrow, because we got so many kids who believe that they have seen everything in the world that they need to see. And they're believing everything on social media. You got kids that got great parents, but they allow social media to be their parents. They allow the streets to be their parents. You know, and so when they come into a school and you're trying to give them a different perspective on things and a different way of seeing life, they're not used to that. It's like you have to be able to talk to these kids over and over and over and over again for them to be like, yo, this is making sense. You know, it's making sense. So it's so hard to get them. Like when a kid go outside, the reason why I repeat myself so much to them, because when they go outside, they see the same thing over and over again.
Over and over again. That's good.
So they get so mad when I repeat myself over and over again. I'm like, look, I'm competing.
That's good.
With what you see or what you hear when you walk up out of here. I'm competing with that.
Competing.
I tell people that I have to look just as beautiful as the drug dealer for the ones who sell drugs and do drugs and gangbang. That I have to look just as beautiful as the drug dealer. So when it's time for you to choose me instead of choosing them.
Yeah.
So when they go to a club or to a party and they feel funny about something, I want them to hear me repeating myself over and over again. If you feel like something ain't right, go home.
Right.
Or go somewhere else.
Right.
Go to Perkins or something.
Mm-hmm.
But get out of there.
Get out of there. Which you mentioned in the book too. Situation that happened, and you, I think you got the bat out the car, and you was getting ready to fight some guys, and you ended up saying, you know, let's just leave. And in the car, they were telling you, man, what? This ain't Will.
They call me Tyson back then.
Yeah, Tyson. Bro, how you go back down? And you just say, you know what? It was time. Like, I'm glad that we left. And you mentioned how you're glad that you left, and because somebody would have died.
Yeah, I felt that day, I don't know, like God was talking to me, bro, because I'm a type of person that was ready to fight in a heartbeat.
Right.
But that day, I felt like somebody was going to die. It was going to be me, one of my friends, but somebody was going to die that day if I would have went to the crazy swinging the bat and fighting like I used to. Somebody was going to die.
Yeah.
And so I said, you know what? I'm going to take this hit where they might look at me and be like, man, I can't believe you didn't do nothing. I'm going to take the hit.
Yeah.
Because I'm happy that I'm seeing everybody made it out.
Right. Come on. Yeah.
And we talk about that, you know what I'm saying? We grown now, but we talk about that now.
Yeah.
And I let them know they never knew how I felt things. I never said it until now, till we became older. They know now.
Yeah.
But I felt somebody was going to die.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's good that, you know, those are the type of examples that you even, you know, in a way share with your students, just saying, look, there's consequences. And like you said, if you feel a certain way, just kind of walk away, you know. One thing I noticed when I was walking through Starts Right Here, I mean, whoever get a chance that's fortunate enough to take a tour of Starts Right Here, take a tour. Definitely take a tour. You will be amazed at the energy, the technology, the vibe, and just everything that's going on. It starts right here. So I definitely want to point that out. But another thing that stood out was the porch. So I'm gonna show you what I experienced from the porch for the first time. So doing one of my presentations that starts right here, after we met up for the first time, and I was set up to do a class presentation, and I'm getting all my equipment. I think Emmanuel was helping me at the PowerPoint, getting everything all set up and whatnot. And it was porch time. Now, you told me about this porch time. We took the tour, and I saw it. I'm like, what is this? He's like, man, this is the porch. Man, this is a replica of the porch I have back in Chicago, and I grew up on. You kind of broke it down, and, you know, which we'll get into that in a little bit. But so I kind of remember that when I'm putting all my stuff together. And you probably don't remember this, but I was really listening. I was chiming in. I'm putting my stuff together, but I'm chiming in because I wanted to listen. The porch talk. I wanted to experience the porch talk, right? So
It's crazy.
It's crazy. It was laughing, a lot of laughing. It was realness. It was crying. And on that particular day, one of the girls got a call. I think she got a text. And then she ran to the bathroom. You probably remember, she ran to the bathroom, you know, and then she was crying. And you're like, what's going on? So some other girls ran into the bathroom. You said, go ahead and check on her, you know, checked on her and whatnot. And then she ended up coming out. And she said, my brother was getting charged for something. The charges were dropped.
Yeah.
You remember that, right? The charges
That was
were dropped.
Aliciana.
Okay. And the charges was dropped. And how she was crying and, you know, people were happy for her, you know, and this is in the middle of the talk. This is in the middle of the porch situation. And that just came to light to me because that's a porch talk situation right there.
It is.
Right? That's
It just happens. Things just happen.
It just happened,
yeah.
right? You know, and just for me to experience that. So explain the porch.
The porch, I created the porch in elementary school, middle school, and high school. And it was very successful, right? And when I got my building, I wanted to build a replica of the porch of Chicago, of the house I used to live in. And on that porch, we'll talk about girls, we'll roast each other. But serious conversation will always happen on that porch. But sometimes we didn't even know we was like mentoring each other.
Right.
We was just talking on the porch. And so the porch is basically, you know, having conversations about life, situations, you know, coming up with solutions and trying to see different people's perspective and how they look at life and look at things. And so a lot of kids will open up to that. Some of them are afraid to open up in front of a lot of people. But once they get comfortable, they start opening up and get to talking and trying to understand life. I mean, we talk about relationships. Had a young lady like literally cried to me and said, I'm so glad we talked about feelings in a relationship, because she felt like she was not listening to her boyfriend's feelings. And because she wasn't listening to his feelings, he was slowly walking away from her, losing that love for her. And so when she was hearing the perspective of how I felt about it, she stopped herself and was like, wow, if I would just listen to him, instead of seeing his mouth move and ready to respond without listening. Like she always say, I'm ready to respond, or I'm ready to say something to him, other than just stopping and listening. She's like, that blew her away. She said she has to stop, not prepare herself to respond, listen to him, and understand what he's saying. Made her cry. They got 2 kids. They got 2 kids together. So she's been working on that. So the porch, it helps out with so many different things, man.
Yeah. How important do you think the porch is in everyday life to any family, any demographic? How can a family somewhat emulate that porch talk?
See, I think a lot of families do the porch talk. They just don't realize that they're actually having that deep conversation that could actually help someone. Mm-hmm. And then some families do, you know. But the porch, like I said earlier, we have conversation on that porch, not realizing we're mentoring each other and helping each other, or being just fools. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
But sometimes just being just fools, I would look at one of my friends and see that he's a fool and be like, well, I ain't trying to be like a fool like that. So I'm glad you're showing me this fool, so I don't be this type of fool.
Right.
So that can be teaching you something on that level too if you just listen. Some people will see a fool and be like, he's getting all the laughs or she's getting all the laughs, so I'm going to try to be a fool like that.
Yeah.
The porch is saying, I'm going to help you choose what type of fool, you know what I'm saying? Right, yeah. You know, if you want to listen to that fool, you don't. You know, or if you want to take something from him, because he is funny, you know what I mean? But you don't have to like do it in a sense where it's degrading people. It's about hurting people. And sometimes people will just listen to that person and think that is what they need to do when it comes down to being that fool, to hurt people. Yeah. No, so let me tell you that you don't have to be that. You can be funny. You can roast people, you know what I'm saying, and not get too personal. But make sure that we both are enjoying the roast.
Yeah, right.
You know?
Yeah.
Other than don't bully. Right. Make sure we both are enjoying the roast.
Right. Another thing in the book that you mentioned, thank you for sharing that. Yeah. One other example you mentioned in the book was when you worked at Popeyes.
Oh, man.
And how the entrance, you couldn't go through the back door, but you went through the front door. So when you're going through the front door one time, the line was long. You know, walked through the cashier, gave them the nod, and went to the back to get ready for work. And during that time, there was people in there, pretty packed. But then within like 10 minutes, it was empty. Mm-hmm. And I don't know, maybe days later, you found out that...
no, I found out that day.
Oh, that day. Okay, but one of the, you explain that.
So I'm not trying to give too much out in the book.
I know.
But no, I tell you. But I worked at Popeyes, and I had these, like you see these scars on my face now, but back then I didn't have surgery on these scars because I got cut up in the face real bad. and they turned into keloid skin, real bad keloid skin, where they kept growing on my face. So they was like, it looked like huge, big old golf balls in my face. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And it didn't look good. So I went into work that day, and it was packed. And I went to the back, and one of the customers said, "Is he gonna be making our food?" And the manager said, "Yeah." And she just went off and was like, "Hell no," you know what I'm saying? And told everybody, "He ain't making my food. He back there gonna be making our food." So everybody left. I didn't know this yet. Mm-hmm. I come to the front, you know what I'm saying, to prepare the chicken. I'm seeing everybody gone. And I asked my manager, I said, "Where everybody go?" They said they didn't want you making their food. Friday comes up, and I'm usually, you know, we all get free food, you know what I'm saying? And I came up there to get some food. And my manager was like, "No, we're not giving you no food." And I was like, "What do you mean? Like, we always get food." You know, my manager didn't, I guess we went back and forth. And all of a sudden, she was like, "You know what, you fired." And I felt like, you know what I'm saying, that movie Friday, I got fired on my day off.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
you
saying?
actually did.
So, and so I'm like, you know, I'm like, wow. So I realized she just wanted an excuse to fire me anyway because of what happened that day. And so that was my career at Popeyes.
Yeah.
But it broke my heart.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm walking around with these scars on my face and getting more insecure every day.
Yeah.
Being more afraid of what I would do if somebody said the wrong thing to me. Man, I didn't want to live in this world no more, bro. And that was because I got tired. I'm like, what can I do to get people to just love me, see me? Even in the work I'm doing today, I never thought good would hurt so bad. Doing good would hurt so bad. I never thought doing good would hurt so bad, bro.
Yeah.
But people are just finding ways to just break me down. But what I have to do, I have to realize that out of 100%, it's only just 5%. And the 95% is saying, "Man, we love you, bro. Keep doing what you're doing." Right. The 5% is that crab in the bucket.
Right.
And I'm trying to teach myself, stop listening to the 5%.
Right.
But the 5% is louder.
Yeah.
But not anymore. I blocked out.
Come on.
You know what I'm saying? I blocked out that 5% and started listening more to the 95%.
Yeah.
That's saying, "Hey, man, keep going. We love you, bro.
Yeah.
Keep making the change.
Yeah.
Keep helping our kids. Mm-hmm. Keep fighting for your own family."
For your own family.
You know?
Yeah.
And I ain't perfect, but I'm a fighter.
Yeah.
And I don't want to die where people said, "We'll try." When I die, I want people to say, "He did." I know you got to try at first to do.
Right, right.
But I want to do it.
You want to do it. Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I want to do it.
Yeah.
And I'm a build relationships after relationships after relationships after relationships. I'm going to build it. I'm going to build it. I'm going to build it because we are fighting a negative war. And what I mean by that is that you have so many people that are negative and they have a huge army. And you don't need nothing to get in the army. Just walk right on in.
Yeah.
And they want someone like you, like me, to fight that army without an army.
Yeah. Without an army.
Without an army.
So you can lose.
Now, we win some battles, but I want to win the war.
Right.
So you build by building relationships. I always tell people I'm not going to let a disagreement stop progress.
Right.
You build relationships so you can create that army to fight an army, that is constantly growing.
Right.
Yeah.
So as far as someone that has not read your book and may not read your book, what is it that you want to share about you want to convey about your book to them? And I know it's kind of, or you can give me a few things, but
It's sad. It can be depressing, but it is inspiring. It shows a lot of resiliency.
yes,
And you'll learn something from it, I tell you that.
oh yeah. Today, you mentioned something on one of the posts. I think one of your students shared something as far as, learning more about you as far as from reading the book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Laura. Yeah. Laura said, I'm on chapter 7.
Yeah.
And she said, man, I can relate to almost everything in this book.
Yeah.
She said, I knew I liked you for a reason. Because she is realizing the type of man that I became and why I became the person I am. So she has a different, even though her view of me was still good, now her view of me is even better.
Yeah.
And I hope that is inspiring her to be even better.
One thing I notice about you when we talk and just when we interact, how you still have a childlike, persona about you, and how you like to joke and just, you have a very funny side, and, I think sometimes people don't know that about you,
They get to know me.
Right, there you go. Get to know Will.
Because me and you be cracking up.
Yeah, all the time. All the time. But that's good that you share some of that as far as your humor. I mean, in one particular situation, I don't think it was an incident that you got into a fight and you walked away and just started singing Michael Jackson. And it was like, oh man, this man's crazy.
No, I didn't get into the fight yet. You know what I'm saying? So when I came out the roller rink, they was all standing out there, and I started singing Michael Jackson.
Okay.
I was like, man, you know what I'm saying? Y'all ain't gonna do nothing to me. So I just started singing. And they was looking at me like, wait a minute. Who is this dude singing Michael Jackson? Like, he crazy. Like, literally, I was literally crazy back then, bro. Like, I didn't care about nothing. I started singing Michael. I don't know if I can't remember. I don't know if it was Beat It or Billie Jean. But I sang one of them.
Right.
And they looked at me like, man, I ain't messing with this dude. And I'm looking at them dead in their eyes, too, as I'm singing. Told me his name was Billie Jean.
Did you do the
I don't know what was wrong with me, bro, but my friends laugh at me today about that, bro. I'm like, man, what was I thinking?
What was you thinking?
I don't know.
Right.
But maybe I was thinking, if they think I'm crazy enough, they won't do nothing.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So, because there was a lot of them too that night. I'm like, man, like I keep getting myself in these messed up situations. Yeah. And that's what a lot of kids that we have at Stars right here, they do. They get themselves in so many messed up situations. Mm-hmm. And I'm trying to teach them, there's a whole nother way to go.
Yeah. Yeah. And tying into Stars right here, which I love going there. I'm going to be there in November. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to continue doing programming there. Great stuff going to Stars right here. I look at those students that are like my nieces and nephews, and they listen. They listen. Now, I'm not there all the time, but for the most part, they do listen.
Yeah.
And they want to change. That's the thing. They want to change. And it's great that you also provide different resources as far as different career opportunities and just kind of get the ball rolling if it hasn't started rolling yet, because a lot of these students that are trying to get their credits, they're seniors, sometimes juniors, and sometimes they don't know what's their next move. They're just trying to graduate.
Yeah.
You're doing a step beyond that.
Yeah, I tell them, when you guys come in here, I understand we're trying to help you graduate.
Right.
But it's so much more to Start Right Here than just graduation.
Yeah.
We want to help you change your mindset.
Come on.
We want to help you with housing, with getting a apprenticeship job or a job. We want to help you if you have mental health. We want to bring mental health in to help you with that. Mm-hmm. We want to create that environment where you feel comfortable or you feel like you can now communicate with people. See, a lot of kids that we have are not communicators.
Yeah.
So nobody knows what's going on with them because they don't communicate. So to get them to learn how to communicate and tell someone what's going on, then now we can probably help you.
Right.
But if you won't communicate, we can't help. And we can't help a lot.
Yeah.
If you communicate and you're lying, that means we're at a dark hole. You know what I'm saying? We're not in a good place because I'm fighting for something that's not even real.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's so many obstacles with helping a youth, with helping everyone. You know what I mean? And so but the beautiful thing is when you find that spark, you know what I'm saying, in them, some of them will literally gravitate to success, gravitate to growth. We have some kids who will literally fail their test because they feel like they're not ready for the world yet. They don't want to leave. They don't want to leave Stars Right Here. It's too much of a family for them. They don't want to lose. They don't want to leave that family atmosphere. So they would literally fail a test. So they could not leave. I mean, I'm flattered, but man, I need you to pass that test.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And you're gonna always be our family. Come back. We got alumni coming back all the time.
Right.
I even got a kid named Nate who graduated from Stars Right Here who works for me now full time.
That's great.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I'm even providing jobs for them, to come.
Yeah.
So it's like, yo, we got you.
Yeah.
Some of the hardest things is to be another parent to somebody or another uncle to somebody or my staff, another mother or another auntie, because a lot of times we're trying to help them with everything.
Right.
And sometimes that can get so overwhelming.
Yeah.
Where I'll take it home with me. After I leave Stars Right Here, my job ain't over. I get phone calls from kids in jail, kids that ran away from home, kids that are arguing with, or moms that are saying, I can't take it no more. Like I'm getting calls sometime at 2:00 in the morning from a police officer saying, do you know this kid? Like I'm always working.
Yeah.
So this job ain't, they come to school and they leave and that's it. Nah, you family.
Yeah.
And so they're calling.
Right. Yeah. And that's great that you took on that responsibility. You're constantly taking on that responsibility.
But it's what's the best way I can say it? Sometimes it's too much.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm not taking care of myself. And that's when people don't see the smile. That's when the tears come out. That's when you try so hard to help someone. And as soon as you can't, I'm now the worst person in the world. To go through that over and over and over again with certain people, it hurts, man.
Yeah.
I have to make sure my wife is happy.
Yeah.
My kids, my family. When I get those 2:00 calls in the morning, my wife, she look at me like, But 2 o'clock in the morning, something's happening, so I need to know what's going on.
Yeah.
In my mind. I don't have that mindset of ignoring those calls. I said if I can't even answer a phone call, I'm getting jumped on because I couldn't answer their phone call either. So it's like there's so many ups and downs in this, bro.
Yeah.
I'm only giving you a little piece. Just a little piece. But I said I wanted to be Luke Skywalker.
Yeah.
It wasn't easy for him either.
Come on.
You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
so if you want to do this type of work, you got to go through it all.
Got to go through it all.
You learn how to balance it later.
Yeah. Yeah.
But in the beginning, you are going through it all.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's another reason why I wanted to have you on the podcast, just so you can kind of share some of that. Share, some of that background. Because people need to know, it's you are on camera pretty often. I've, seen you, but there's another side too that sometimes people don't see.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The grit and the grind and, what you have to do to get to where you are right now. And the stuff that you're constantly still going through, on the lighter note, what's the next phase that starts right here?
Okay.
Can you talk about that? I don't know.
Yeah, I can talk about it.
Okay.
It's kind of, oh my goodness, man, it's been a lot. We're trying to do housing
Yeah.
and a school in the same building.
Yes.
So 18 units of studio apartments and a school in the same building. We have built a unbelievable relationship with Des Moines Public Schools.
Yes.
And
Shout out to Des Moines Public Schools.
Shout out to Des Moines Public Schools. And we're working with them. And it's been a blessing. We have to raise almost $8 million.
Okay.
And we're working on that right now.
Okay. Yeah. And I know you kind of give me bits and pieces, kind of give me evidence. Like, I ask you what's going on and you kind of, let me know. But I know it is a huge project and you're getting there.
Yeah, man.
You know?
Building these relationships.
Right.
Stop hating me on building these relationships, y'all.
Right. Right.
Because it's very important.
Yeah.
Learn from me.
Learn. Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right. And that's, that's important and that's kind of the core of Do the Math 24/7. It's just, we're all working as one, together as one, not allowing differences to separate us, but learning to, it's okay, we don't have to necessarily agree on everything, but on the core values, we need to work together on different things to get things accomplished.
Tell them how I surprised you one day.
See, okay, we was actually, I'm going to wait to the end, but yeah, I'm going to mention that. Let's go into that right now. Why not?
Okay.
We can go into that right now. So it was in March. And of course, one of our random conversations, calling you up to, actually it was an award, Fuse DSM award that you received. And I saw it somewhere posted on social media. And then I saw it and I noticed the award. So I hit you up, called you up, like, hey, Will, just to congratulate you. Hey, I just want to congratulate you on your award. That's awesome, you told me a little bit about Fuse DSM and whatnot. And you just said, you know what, let me make a call. I may have an extra ticket once you come. And I'm just like, you sure? I don't know, man. You sure? He's like, yeah, man, let me just make a call and I'll call you right back. Let me see if I can get you an extra ticket. Now, that next day, I think I told you, but I was getting ready to fly out to my nephew's bar mitzvah and I still had to get ready. And at the time, I think the war started probably within like an hour and a half. So I didn't even have that much time, and I still had to come home and pack. But I'm saying, you know what? I'm going to shower. I'm going to throw on my stuff, and I'm going to go to that because for me, I wanted to support you. I'm going just to support you. You my guy. Like, you invite me, I'm going to go support you, and vice versa. You would have done the same thing for me. So, it was a great time, great dinner, having a great time hanging out with your staff. Got to know your staff a little more too, by the way, and your son, Scott. And then you got your award, and as you stood up, you started to, talk a little bit, just kind of doing your, I would say the normal formalities when the person gets an award, and then you just pause for a minute, and you say, you know what, I want you guys to I want Kenny Lilly to stand up. I'm just like, what? I'm tripping. Like, he did not just call my name, And it was over 600-700 people there.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Easily.
Yeah.
Kenny Lilly, please stand up. Everybody was sitting down.
Mm-hmm.
I stood up, and I kind of had tears in my eyes because I'm like, he is not just, calling me out, but he said, you guys get to know Kenny. Get to know Kenny Lilly and do the math 24/7. Thank you for this award, but I want to take this opportunity, which you have the right to take. You said instead of taking this opportunity to go through all the, the formalities and the speeches and whatnot, I wanted to make sure that I let people know about what you're doing, and you did that, and that was. By the time you sat down, and first of all, the whole crowd was just moved. Mm-hmm. The whole crowd was moved. People came up to me after that. It was like, wow. Did that just happen? Yeah. And before that, this is a award ceremony, so this was awards already going on, right? Mm-hmm. Sit down, sit up, the next person speak. So it was constantly people getting awards. It changed after that. It changed.
Yeah.
Because it was so touching and was so selfless that you didn't have to do that. You chose to acknowledge me and tell people about my organization. And then, afterwards, I called my wife. I was kind of, shaking my phone like, babe, guess what just happened? I cannot believe Will just actually did this, And then I posted about it on LinkedIn because it was something that I wanted people to know about you. So selfless. You didn't have to do that. It wasn't about you. You put me on stage, so to speak.
Because you know what's happening, right? It took a lot for me to get to this platform, where a lot of ups and downs. And I know when someone else is trying to, especially a black young man or a black woman, that is trying to build their nonprofit, nobody knows who they are.
Right.
It's still hard for me to get what I want. You know what I'm saying? So imagine you trying to get what you want.
Right.
And the impact that you want to give to the community. So why not help you out with that by letting people see who you are and letting them know what you're doing? I want to be able to do that for people.
Yeah.
Why not?
Why not?
I'm talking about building this army, right?
Right.
You part of the army.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I can't do it by myself. So when people call me, they say, well, he's just doing this, you know what I'm saying, for him. No, you have no idea. Stop listening to people that don't know me.
Stop listening, y'all.
And start listening to people who do.
Who do.
Yeah. Because I want to help out so many people. It's crazy. I want to be one of the ones for real.
Yeah.
That help people. Because I wish that was there for me.
Yeah. Yeah, and to this day I appreciate that, and that said a lot about you and just your character, and hopefully through time, and not hopefully, I know through time, people will get to know you more, and not listen to what people may say, or just in general get to know each other.
Well, I'm always gonna have my haters, bro.
Yeah,
they're always gonna be there. So no matter what I do, they're just going to not like me and want to hate. So, like I said earlier, I'm going to focus on the people who actually love.
Yeah.
I'll focus on them.
Yeah.
That was a hard thing for me to do.
Yeah.
Because I want everybody to love me. Love me 100%.
Right. Yeah.
And there's a lot of people who feel that way, who think that way.
Yeah.
So I learned to love the ones who love you.
Yeah. Genuine.
Yes.
Yeah. Is there anything else you want to share?
Well, man, I think this is good, bro.
Yeah.
I enjoyed this conversation.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I really did. So I just hope that people they hear it.
Yeah.
They get to know you.
Yeah.
Not just this podcast, but to know you,
mm-hmm.
how genuine you are.
Yeah.
how loving father and husband you are.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And how you want to help these kids out here, bro.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm gonna keep supporting you.
Yeah. I appreciate that.
All right.
Yeah. All right, brother.
All right, man.
Okay. Thank you all again for tuning in to Math Talk. I appreciate you again, Will, for coming on and just kind of sharing your thoughts. You know, I that means a lot. And keep doing what you're doing in the community. We're going to keep supporting Will, continue to support Will. Thank you again for tuning in for Math Talk. You want to shout out your socials at all? Or people probably already know your socials, but
Just Google Will Keeps Nuts. It's all out there. No, you're good.
Okay. But my website is, for Do the Math 24/7, my website is 101math247.com. Like me on LinkedIn, Kenny Lilly, Lilly. My Instagram is @DoTheMath247. And my Facebook is @DoTheMath247. And again, thank you guys. Thank you everyone for tuning in again for Math Talk. And remember, actually one more question before I forget. This is a tricky one, but we're going to deal with a math equation.
Hey, man.
Okay, so with Do the Math 24/7, what we stand for, you know, adding, subtract, multiplying, divide. So my question to you is, and I'm trying to be more consistent with this instead of wrapping it up, but my question to you is, give me a math equation as far as the book, life, starts right here, anything that comes to mind. What is something that you can add more of? What is something you can subtract? What is something you can multiply? And that will result into what?
I can add. Wow, that's a tough question.
Either you or what we can add more of. It could be.
Well, we can add more togetherness. We can subtract more hate, and we can multiply loyalty, and that would equal up to a great human being.
A great human being, right? There you go. That's a wrap, right? A great human being.
A great human being.
Come on, right?
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Okay, I like that. Okay. Thank you guys all again for tuning in to Math Talk, and remember, do the math 24/7.